Welcome everyone, Stealthy Muzzer here with my gameplay, my thoughts and opinion on the beta of Gears of War Reloaded. I will go through a couple of things, the good, the bad and the ugly. So we'll start with the good. Holy crap, it feels nostalgic. Like, as soon as you jump in, it feels like the first, which, you know, because it is. But it's got that. It still kept the grittiness of the original Gears, and like you just lose yourself in it, like vibe-wise and everything. It just reminds you of back in the day when you were playing. Well, it did for me. Like you just sort of like really zone in on it, and then you don't realize how long you've been playing. I enjoy the minimum, like, it is a beta, so I enjoy the beta coming out. It's good for, you know, Coalition and Xbox, so then I can fix some of the little nitty-gritty inconveniences and mess-ups, but it's also good for some of the new players as well that have got Game Pass and can play the beta, but also the new PlayStation players that got it, keen for it, they can test it to see how they actually feel about it, because it plays different. Like, you know, you play Gears and it's very like Gears of War like the running, the wall bouncing, even just like the weapon usages and stuff like that. I'm glad that, you know, they've never strayed too far away from that in any of the games. Which I find makes Gears of War multiplayer unique. Yeah, they could have easily have just been like, oh, for new players, we'll just go back to the what is it, to, like, you know, how COD plays and all the other. They could have easily just changed it to that, but they kept it as, you know, the same old Gears, which is great. It'll take new players a little bit to get used to. But it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, I mastered Gears. You know, multiplayer, I'm pretty bloody good at it. Not not myself. I'm not that great at it. I'm more of a campaign type of guy, but I really did enjoy this beta. And I know it's only just, you know, a beta, but you know, it was on the weekend. You got to enjoy yourself. What more can you ask? Everything looks clean, though, like, you know, which is what you want and what you would kind of expect, since it's like the second remaster of the original, which I'm not overly fussed with, you know, being on Game Pass and owning the original ones, and it just doesn't, you know, doesn't cost me any extra. I do hope they do bring out, you know, Gears 2 and 3 for also the enjoyment of new players. Just mainly the campaign. Just all of it was great. Like, I generally had a really good time with it. There were some stuff that weren't so great, but we'll get into that with the bad and the ugly. But yeah, overall, you know, can't complain. Was able to play one of my favourite series on a weekend, which looks great and feels great. But we'll get to the bad. The hitbox is not great. I'm trying to remember how the hitbox was in the original. I can't really remember that much, but like, you know, you could be firing and it just feels like nothing's happening. Like, you know, it feels like you're doing 0 damage. The hit markers aren't popping up. And like, it's just not working whatsoever. Not all the time, but just occasionally you're like, you know, you're using your gun and you're just like, oh, am I doing anything? And then with weapon, the bad is mainly just weapons. Overall, they're not horrific, but there's some little bits where you're just like, noticeable. The chainsaw is probably the thing that irritated me the most out of this beta. Like the Lancer, you'll start it up, and then you're holding the Lancer up. You know, you hear it running, the chainsaw running, and then like after like 2 seconds, it just stops. You hear no noise coming from it. It doesn't, like, you know, if you're holding it near, like, and an enemy's in front of you, it'll start the chainsawing motion. It doesn't, not all the time. Sometimes you're holding it up and it's literally just, you know, your character, let's just say Mark, is just holding up a gun for fun. No noise, no revving. Like you're holding the B button on Xbox to, you know, rev it and everything, and get close to an enemy, and it'll start the animation. No, it'll start like for like 2-3 seconds, and then you're just walking around with holding a gun in the air, unless if you stop, you know, using the chainsaw. That's happened to me several times. You know, you see an enemy, sneak up to it, you start a little bit further out, so then when you get there, you know, you're starting the animation straight away. You know, you're revving it, you go to the enemy, and you're just standing there looking like a dickhead with a gun in the air. But that's probably the thing that was the biggest negative for me in the game. Usually, you know, you're holding the chainsaw that's still revving, and then you go to an enemy, and then it starts the animation. It didn't happen on a fair few times for me. But yeah, that's probably the worst. Not so bad, but not great. The spawn rates I felt was very frequent. Too frequent, I think. I think it should be like, you know, the boom shot or the sniper. It's just, you know, spawns in at the start, someone picks it up. Until that one weapon runs out of ammo, that's when the new sniper will spawn in, or the new boom shot. If you've used all the ammo on it, that's when the new one should start the timer to spawn in. The respawns in general is very slow. Like sometimes you feel like you're waiting like, you know, 30 seconds. Some other times you feel like you're waiting 10. I don't know if it's just, you know, not paying attention, but most of the time the respawn was very, very long. Now let's get started with the ugly thing that everyone probably already knows, the thing that every single person went through. It's as soon as the beta went live, you go into it, can't even get to a lobby. It's just constantly kicking you out. Now the meme is Gears of War always loading, or loaded, because it would always kick you back and you're loading back in and you're, you know, doing that. For me, it went for 20 minutes, and then I was able to get a game, and then I was able to get a game every single time I tried. So, you know, not the worst. Some people are still struggling to get games in general, but it was only a 20-minute period at the very start, which is forgivable. It is a beta. It's not the end of the world. But yeah, initial 20 minutes, couldn't get a game. But then as soon as I got one, I was able to get them. However many I wanted to do, one after another. I've seen people deal with lag. It wasn't really noticeable for me. You know, I'd have maybe like 2-3 seconds most here and there, like, you know, hours between, just little lag spikes, but not anything to, like, you know, ruin my gameplay experience. You know, you might walk and you cop like a little lag spike for like 3 seconds. You're like, oh, and then that's about it, and you just continue doing what you're doing. But I've seen some people saying that they've gotten a lot longer of a lag, or like every game's just laggy and not enjoyable for them. But yeah, that's probably like, you know, the most noticeable thing that everyone went through, everyone's dealing with, just trying to get a game. But overall, it's a beta. you're going to get this type of stuff. It's not the end of the world. I was still able to get plenty of games in, you know, while not gaming 24/7. I was able to, you know, feel like playing the original. Got to play it on the weekend. Feels the same, which is good, which is what you want from a remaster. And it'll be great for all the new players. You know, test the beta, get used to it, get a little bit in it. I hear, you hear people complaining about crossplay and all that stuff. I don't get why you're complaining. It's a beta. Like, if you're complaining that you don't want to deal with having crap people on your team, like, it's a beta. Let them play, and then they won't be so crap when the game comes out, and then you won't even notice. It won't even matter. And plus, how do you know the PlayStation players aren't actually original Xbox that went over, But all I can say is, bring on the second week, bring on the campaign. Holy crap. I'm more of a campaign man than multiplayer, so waiting for the campaign is going to go so long. Waiting for E-Day is going to go so long, and hopefully that they will do Gears 2 and 3 with, if this one goes well, and PlayStation. I think they're waiting to see if PlayStation players have picked up the first one and playing it and enjoying it. If they are, I think they will play 2 and 3. If it sells like 0 copies on PlayStation, then they're not going to bother with Gears 2 and 3. That's my opinion. Because you bring out the first one on PlayStation. PlayStation players haven't played 2 or 3. Be the easiest way to bring in a remaster for 2 and 3. I hope they do it anyway, even if PlayStation doesn't work out for them, which I don't think it won't. I think it'll be fine for them. Just so, I want to play Gears 2 and 3 again with nicer graphics just to enjoy it. If not, I'll just play the regular version that I got. But yeah, hopefully, everyone enjoyed the beta weekend. Hopefully you all enjoyed this little opinion video that I made. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe. There will also be one last beta stream for week 1, which is tomorrow night, 16th of this month, 8 PM Australian Eastern Standard Time. Thank you.